we will hear an insight into EU regulation by Heikki Pitkänen, who is CEO in the Lean Entries, and he's an expert on regulation of EHDS, and then there are so many letter acronyms that I will leave those to you. And but I only mention European health data space, which kind of is one of the very timely topic. And in his role, he advocates for regulatory clarity and early stage guidance as key enablers of safe and effective health innovation rather than barriers to it. So welcome, Heikki, please.
Thank you very much. Everyone can hear me? Yep. It's great to be here. This is what you wanted. You wanted a regulatory guy talking to you. I'm sure you're thrilled. Let's talk regulatory. To add to my introduction, maybe a few words. I've been working on both sides of the fence. I've been working for medical device startups, but I've also been working for two notified bodies. And I've seen the struggle, and in a accredited lab as well for 60601, electromedical devices, the acronyms kick in. And standardization, I've been representing Finland in the advisory board for CEN and CENELEC, which is the European counterpart for ISO and IEC. Let's keep the acronyms coming. And I would like to start with the very grim picture. Let's start from the negative and let's build it up to a solution and a positive end result. Imagine Europe is a city in the dark. It looks shiny. We have electricity and lots of beautiful buildings rising up in that dark atmospheric city. When you switch on lights, you see that it's mostly a construction site. There are quite a few nice buildings there, one maybe in Stockholm, one maybe in Helsinki, one in Oulu. Maybe one in Copenhagen, etc. So you see the big picture, but it's mostly a construction site. There's a lot of tiny, tiny huts being built. There are these windowless silos because people didn't figure out building windows in them. And we know we work a lot in silos in Europe, and they forgot about the new connective digital tech also. So they are using analog communication, trying to shout from one window to the other, except that there's no window in the silo. This is what I picture Europe. And my title says that there is iron lacking from the foundation. So we have a lot of stuff lacking, naturally. But I'm here to talk about regulatory. And if we look at health tech innovators, they rarely come with heavy understanding and knowledge on regulatory issues. So regulatory literacy is what I claim would be the iron in that foundation. So the construction sites, they are looking towards Stockholm, seeing how these guys do it. And they, in Stockholm, tell them that you just need to teach them from the ground up, bottom up, make sure they know what it takes to be a health tech in the global market, not only Europe, and so forth. So this is where I'm sure a lot of you recognize yourselves, and you don't need to be a health tech innovator. You can also be working in a hospital. You can be at the procurement side of things and look at the AI Act, the MDR, the EHDS regulation, everything there is, and be overwhelmed with how much there is. Or you might be the competent authority, and the innovators are knocking on your door, and there are so many times the same guys coming with the same questions, the very basics. Could we reduce that amount a bit, please, and focus on the real deep dive and value-adding services and innovation, truly. So just a little bit of background still before I go into the solution. The call for regulatory clarity is there. So this European city with lights on, it's calling for regulatory clarity. And now it seems that the time is finally ripe. We've been here for a while. We've seen how difficult it has been to set up MDR and IVDR. And now it seems that everyone is shouting because the AI Act and the Data Act and all those new digital regulations, they now touch also other sectors than health tech. And we in health tech can benefit from that because everyone else is in trouble now as well. So they're calling for help. And just like mentioned in the opening, Europe aims to be the global leader in life sciences in 5 years from now. And it's the end of 25. we're looking at. And I claim that the innovators would have needed that regulatory literacy baseline yesterday rather than today. So we are also looking at an urgency, how to compete against other regions of this globe. They say in that strategy that early regulatory guidance for you guys plays a critical role, and they are correct. They are planning to create or procure. We've done our best to influence and infiltrate ideas to build an AI-powered interactive tool that could be built on what we've done so far to navigate the EU regulatory landscape. Now, the second party I'd like to bring up, although there are lots, USAIR is a European consortium of 2 million euros for 2 years. They have the mandate to build the setup for or explain how AI regulatory sandboxes would work. And it contains the EDIHs, the European Digital Innovation Hubs, the TEFs, the data spaces, the AI factories. We've all been here today, and you recognize yourselves. Some of you are part of the user consortium. And you say in your roadmap that it's crucial that tools are made available which effectively cover the nuances, reducing ambiguities, inconsistencies, to help all of the researchers to navigate the legal landscape confidently and note not only the AI Act, not only the data or MDR, but the landscape. And that's a lot. And now if the life science strategy tells that it will be an AI-powered interactive tool and the AI regulatory sandboxes should be up and running by August 26, I don't see it realistic that we have that AI-powered tool yet up and running. And I also claim that ChatGPT is not helping those innovators to understand the regulatory principles. It helps me, who knows a lot, and I can then navigate and know what information is correct, what is complete, and what is not. The idea also of uniformly interpret regulatory guidelines so that not only the innovator can interpret, but the hospital can interpret, and everybody has the same baseline of understanding what needs to be taken into account. And to add on that, we have the New Nordics AI, where there's the AI Sweden, AI Finland, and all of our Nordic countries already involved. And it's based on the ministry, what is it called? The consortium of Nordic ministries funding. And so these parties are already in. And we know Nordics has a lot of power. If we put our things together, forget silos, and start building, we can bring up great examples to show to other parts of Europe. And everyone talks about simplification, but I would want to highlight what these parties also point out, and our ministry this morning pointed out in its keynote, is that clarity is key. It's not about deregulation only. It's not about making the regulations more simple, which is also very relevant. But still, there will be loads of regulations, and you will be in the same haze forever if somebody doesn't step in. How am I doing with my time? 5 minutes still? Okay. Just to give you a note, these tools are free to use. I will give you a QR code to start with. But just to point out, we are already in the Nordic consortium here as well. So it's a public-private action with some funded mainly by Sitra, Tech Industries, AI Finland, Health Tech Finland, Danish Life Science Cluster, all of these relevant parties, including the Finnish startup community and 2 EDIHs. And this is the same topic here. Go and read from our articles. We together want to state that we need to add that iron in the foundation of a competitive Europe. So we are completely backing up Draghi in what he wanted to say. But this is it. Let me try to use the plus. How does it work? Yeah, there we go. A tool that we have built together with the Danish Life Science Cluster is a regulatory journey tool. It provides you a draft regulatory strategy as you move ahead in this tooling. If you're curious to know what other information you have along the path, you could have a full list of terminology, for example, regarding the MDR and IVDR to tap on from this tool. And if you turn on references, this explains to you that every bit of information originally coming from the MDR, IVDR, guidance documents related, they are completely referent to the subclause level. So we have the most complete breakdown of these regulations to work from. I'm not going to explain to you and show this particular tool, but I will go and give you a little bit more examples here. This is the MDR IVDR tool. It takes you through first the qualification and classification of medical devices. You are all familiar with all of this, I'm sure. But the ones who are starting off, and I would like to remind you, it's not everyone here in this hall today, but it's my kids in the future. We're trying to build it for them to understand how the EU works and how you navigate through. So every bit of information you find from here along your path, it's completely referenced. We also claim that this would be the means to build the AI solution that Life Science Strategy is talking about. So happy to talk about that afterwards. But let's take AI Act. This is the complete AI Act in a runway model. So if you don't know if you're an AI system, you can also take the guided path into it. Let's say that we are, and I'll take you just a little bit further into this tool. Let's forget all the scoping questions, and we land on a question where we ask whether you are the provider, the deployer, or someone else. And now this brings the hospital into the picture. And this is where the provider, which is the manufacturer by MDR terminology, would also want to know what it takes for the hospital to deploy the AI. As an end result from these toolings that go through it all, you get a report out. This is from the regulatory journey tool, summary of your answers, and the rest is your draft regulatory strategy with timelines, tasks, an initial list of standards with links that you will need to apply, personalized end results. And to finalize, this is the aim, where we are at, where innovators still across the globe, I'd like to point out, not only in Europe, learn slowly because it's made so difficult. It is inherently difficult. We want to push them on a new baseline of knowledge, all of them, and let's then collaborate and work with each other. I'd like to point out some nice statements from our clients, maybe go to the innovators who say, makes learning so easy you cannot get away. This is a main means to apply some due diligence by TEFs, AI factories, universities, to make sure that they know what they're doing, where they are headed. And this is the QR code to dive in or just type in leanentries.com. And if you wonder why Aurevia is mentioned, that's our parent company, 80 people knowledgeable about regulatory quality and clinical research in Sweden, in Finland, in Poland, in Germany. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Heikki. That was great. So